house today.
You ready?
Yes?
Okay, good morning, folks. We'll start. Welcome to this press breakfast sponsored by the Energy Daily and AREVA Inc. And I'm George Lobsons. I'm editor of the Energy Daily. And we're very fortunate today to have Jacques Besnainou, who's the president of AREVA Inc. here with us today. And Jacques has been president of AREVA Inc. since September 2008. Previously, I think he was with AREVA in their treatment and recycling business.
Yes.
And he also spent some time as a management consultant to a French investment bank, and also served as advisor on nuclear energy to the French Ministry of Industry.
Yes, a long time ago. Yeah.
And so Jacques is going to make a few opening remarks, and then we'll take questions.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for your nice introduction. Welcome, everybody. It's a full house today. My name is Jacques, and I'm the CEO of AREVA in North America. It's about 6,000. We represent about 6,000 employees across the Americas, and we are headquartered here near Washington. I will give you a few minutes introduction, some remarks, and open to questions. We have about an hour. So again, thanks for coming, and thanks to Energy Daily for sponsoring this event. It's always a pleasure to collaborate with you. Let me give you a quick update on Japan, which I believe it's on your mind today. Just to say, as every time I talk about Japan, I express my profound admiration to the Japanese people for what happened. We tend to forget that it was a natural disaster first of epic proportions. About 25,000 people died actually from the event. Our focus from the beginning, from actually the March 11, and I've been involved a lot in this in the front lines here, was to provide help, and emergency actions are our priority. I don't know if you knew, but during the first week of the events, we chartered a plane, an Antonov, full of equipment and a bottle of water for our Japanese friends. And right now, we have more than 100 engineers in Tokyo and on site to build a water decontamination system, because right now the priority is to get rid of the contaminated water, so our Japanese friends can access the reactors and shut down the reactors for good. And hopefully the water decontamination system that we're putting together in Fukushima is going to be operational in a few days or few weeks. It's a matter of days or weeks. What I always say about what happened in Japan, and which is a disaster of epic proportions, it's an opportunity to learn. And I take the example of plane crashes. I know I already said that on radio, on TV, that I hate flying. I mean, I'm very afraid of flying. Actually, I have 3 kids now, 21, 17, and 12, and I hate flying. I fly all the time. So I try to separate my emotion from the facts. And the fact is, when you fly, the most dangerous part of your experience is when you drive to the airport. Because actually flying is very safe. So when we see a plane crash, we don't say we're going to stop flying. We're afraid, we're emotional, but we try to learn. And I think that's what we should be doing with nuclear disasters or incidents. And that's what in AREVA we're going to do actually. It's learn from the unfortunate experience of our colleagues in Japan. And we've been doing that all our life. Actually, I don't know if you know that safety and security is our priority in AREVA. We believe that safety consists of robust design, safety culture, and strong organization. And this is our core value in AREVA, safety. It is in our DNA. And actually, what happened is that in last few years, I don't know if you know that, but we have been criticized because our new reactors were too safe, too expensive. They were over safe. And right now, I don't hear this criticism anymore. I believe that the next generation of reactors should take into account, I mean, the different incidents we had before. And this is why our EPR, our new reactor, has been designed actually with safety in mind, taking into account TMI, Chernobyl, 9/11. People forget about 9/11, but it was a big event. And actually, all the plants in the US have been retrofitted to sustain a 9/11 event. And now Fukushima, of course. So something also which is very important, and that's why I'm here today, we always believe in AREVA that transparency and dialogue is very important. Energy choices belong to every citizens, and we should be able in the nuclear industry to be able to answer and discuss every issues. But let me tell you that in my opinion, the fundamentals of our energy choices have not changed, especially here in the US. I'm always amazed that here in the US, in the summer, when you go inside, you have to take a sweater with you because it's too cold. And so, I don't know if you do that, but we, as Americans, I'm a new American, we represent only 4% of the population, but we consume 25% of energy, of the world energy. Actually, per capita, we consume 7 more times energy than in China. We consume more than twice as energy per capita than in Europe. And I go to Europe all the time. I'm not uncomfortable in Europe. So that means that energy is very important to this country. And we need diversity of supply. Now we talk about shale gas. Okay, this is the new revolution, shale gas. I think we have to be very, it's great actually. It could be a great energy source. But we have to look also at environmental concerns and price volatility. Right now, gas is very inexpensive, but when you build any kind of plants, it's for the next 30, 40 years. So we need to make sure that the price of gas will remain low for the next 40 years. So diversity of supply is very important. Nuclear and renewables are very complementary. You will see that that's why we developed actually both. Renewables is intermittent, renewable is baseload. Both don't emit CO2 emissions. They were not, I mean, nuclear was not created for that, but doesn't emit CO2. That's a fact. And we need to keep in America the 20% we have in nuclear energy. It's very, very important because if we do nothing, let me tell you that the fleet in the US will eventually retire. This is the oldest fleet on the planet. Nuclear energy was invented here. So after 60 years of life, like everybody, nuclear fleet is going to retire. It will start in 2020. So if we do nothing, in 2020, we will lose the 20% of nuclear power we have in the US. So we need to build in the next decade a few model reactors, like model homes, because we will have a big development starting in 2020. That's why I'm very happy that in the US, the AP1000 is being built here in Georgia. And I'm very hopeful that we can start also one EPR, hopefully in Maryland, in the next few years, so we can have an EPR built in the US that will show and prove that we can build here on time and on budget. We can come back during the questions about the German decision. I'm sure you have questions. Just before I stop, I want to remind you some facts about nuclear energy. Because as the second president of the US said 250 years ago, John Adams, facts are stubborn. Whatever our emotions are, facts are stubborn. So nuclear energy is, in my opinion, the safest technology to produce huge amount of baseload carbon-free energy. It's reliable. It contributes to energy security. It's homegrown. It's carbon-free. It represents right now 75% of the nation's emission-free electricity. I mean, just to give you a fact, the 104 plants in the US are able to save as much as CO2 as if we were taking all the cars, and we have a lot of cars in the US, I have 3 myself, all the cars off the roads. It's the same amount of CO2 avoided. There is a solution for nuclear waste, and I've been at the head of the recycling centers in France for 4 years, so I invite you to visit for yourself. And new nuclear energy is a great instrument for economic growth, and we need jobs in this country. We can't continue to have a jobless recovery. Actually, I don't understand the word jobless recovery. For me, recovery, it means jobs. So yes, I'm a firm believer of nuclear energy. I think it has a great future in the US. What we need is a strong and consistent political will on both sides of the aisle. People ask me, why in France, were you able to go to 75%? Are you a genius? No, we are not genius, I can tell you. I've been there. We were lucky. We had the luck to have a consistent policy for the last 30 years, from left to right. And that's what we need in the US, a consistent policy backing up nuclear energy. And I think we have it, actually. When you go on the Hill, you can see that I was very impressed. The political response to the events in Fukushima in the US have been very, very rational. So, anyway, I don't want to take too much of my personal time. I know you came here to fire me with questions, so I open it to the floor. Thank you so much.
Hey, open up. Please identify yourself before you ask your question, please. Brian?
I'm Brian Winko with Bloomberg News.
Sure.
I was wondering what you expect from the Blue Ribbon Commission's report coming out next month, and what you are concerned that they might say, and what you're hopeful they will.
Okay, so the question is about what do we expect about the Blue Ribbon Commission here in the US. The commission was asked by the president of the US to look at solutions for the nuclear waste problem. As far as I understand, because there was an interim report, they are looking right now at putting together, advocating for what they call a federal corp to take care of the problem. And I think it's a very good point. Because what happened right now is that the utilities are paying $1 per kilowatt hour in order for the US government to take care of the waste, and the $1 per kilowatt hour is going to the general, I would say, treasury. So it's a big hole. It's lost. So what needs to be done is like kind of a federal corp, that like a TVA, like a corporation owned by the federal government, that is going to get the $1 per kilowatt hour and put together a solution. I understand also that they want to advocate for interim centralized storage. I think they need to go beyond that, because I don't believe that any communities in the US will only accept interim centralized storage. You have I don't know if it exists in Japan, but here we call it NIMBY, none in my backyard. I learned it, I'm a new American. So that means that I don't think it's conceivable that to have a community in the US going to accept, even on an interim basis, the entire the spent fuel or the fuel or the used fuel from all across the United States. In talking to communities, we understand that they want, if they're ready to do that, they will be ready to actually to do more. And that's where I think we need to have an option to recycle waste. Because bringing a recycling center to any communities in the US means an investment of about $20 to $30 billion. And it means a solution. So I would love to see the BRC being a little bit, I would say, forthcoming in saying, we are going to leave open the options of having a recycling center today, somewhere in the US. And we know, talking to a few people, that it could be well received by some communities in the US. I hope it answers.
Can you elaborate on it?
No, I can't at this stage. Thanks.
Jeff Beatty with the Energy Daily. I wonder if you could elaborate a little bit on how that reprocessing center would be funded. Are you looking at cooperative, public-private, or direct contract with the utility?
It's a good question. So how the recycling center, I call it recycling, will be funded. Actually, we did a study a few years ago. I commissioned a study with the Boston Consulting Group, and we looked at, can it be funded with a mill? I mean, you need to understand that as a ratepayer, if you use electricity, every kilowatt hour you consume. So if you are run for an hour, okay, so you pay 1 mil to the treasury. So this mil, your money, I mean, we looked at it actually. So now it's accrued about $10 billion. Could help fund such a recycling center. It's absolutely feasible. And actually, the study is online, so if you need more information, we can give it to you.
Over here on the side? You wait for the microphone, that'd be great.
Okay.
Hi, Matt Bannick with SNL Energy. I was wondering about Germany's move last week. What impact do you think that will have on the debate going on after Fukushima in the U.S. specifically?
So let me say a few words about Germany. I mean, first of all, I mean, this is in their right to do. I mean, this is an internal policy decisions. But I think, I mean, I have to comment on it because it's they are not an island in Europe, and I think this is a very important decision that they made. I was quite shocked actually by the decision. Not shocked by the fact that they are going to. I mean, the majority of the German people are against nuclear energy. It was well known. It's pushed by the Greens. This is absolutely their right, and it was actually said in 2002. So we knew, everybody knew in Europe that, like Austria, Germany was going to phase out nuclear energy one day or another. Where I'm a little bit shocked is the timeline. Because 10 years, I mean, they said that they're going to, I mean, basically, I mean, phase out nuclear energy by 2022. 10